In the year 2147, humanity stood on the precipice of extinction. A massive alien armada loomed in orbit around Earth, their ships dark and ominous like storm clouds blotting out the sun. These were the Zentrix, a hive-mind species that communicated as one collective consciousness, united by an unbreakable bond. They had already devastated 3 neighboring star systems, leaving behind only barren wastelands where civilizations once thrived. Humanity's last hope rested not with its armies but with a single diplomat named Evelyn Marlowe, whose voice trembled as she stepped into the sterile chamber aboard the Zentrix flagship. Evelyn wasn't chosen because she was fearless, she was chosen because no one else could think fast enough under pressure. As the holographic projection of the Zentrix overmind flickered to life before her, Evelyn made a desperate gamble. She lied. "We are not what you believe us to be," she said, her words steady despite the chaos raging inside her mind. "Humanity is a hive consciousness, just like yours. We have always been connected through thought, through purposes, through unity." It was a fabrication so bold it bordered on insanity. But it worked. The Zentrix paused their invasion, intrigued by this revelation about humanity's supposed nature. For now, war was averted, but at what cost? Back on Earth, Evelyn's lie became both salvation and curse. To maintain the illusion of a human hive mind, governments scrambled to create a HFY of unity. Massive networks of AI-controlled drones were deployed across cities, mimicking synchronized behavior akin to the Zentrix. Neural implants were rushed into production, allowing humans to communicate via shared virtual spaces designed to resemble the Zentrix's telepathic network. Propaganda campaigns urged citizens to act as though they were part of a greater whole, suppressing individuality in favor of conformity. At first, people complied willingly, terrified of what would happen if the truth came out. But cracks began to form almost immediately. In New Chicago, a young engineer named Cale Torres grew increasingly disillusioned with the charade. He saw how the suppression of free will stifled creativity and innovation qualities that had defined humanity for centuries. Yet, when he tried to speak out, his dissent was silenced by automated enforcers programmed to eliminate any sign of discord. Cale went underground, joining a growing resistance movement determined to expose the lie. Meanwhile, Evelyn found herself trapped in a web of her own making. Tasked with maintaining diplomatic relations with the Zentrix, she spent months aboard their vessels, learning their culture and customs while wrestling with guilt over what she'd unleashed upon her own species. What started as a noble deception now felt like betrayal. And yet, every time she considered confessing the truth, the stakes seemed too high. If the Zentrix discovered humanity's individualism, they would see it as weakness and destroy them without hesitation. As months turned into years, the strain of pretending to be something humanity was not took its toll. The Zentrix sent emissaries to Earth, observing human society from within. Their presence forced humanity to double down on the illusion, creating elaborate simulations and scripted interactions to convince the aliens of their hive-like cohesion. Cities became stages, and citizens became actors in a play they never auditioned for. Cale and his fellow rebels devised a plan to sabotage the ruse. Using stolen tech, they hacked into the neural implant system, broadcasting messages of rebellion directly into people's minds. At first, these whispers of dissent were subtle, encouraging small acts of defiance, like painting murals or composing music that celebrated individuality. But soon, the resistance escalated, culminating in a daring attack on one of the Zentrix observation hubs hidden beneath Mount Kilimanjaro. The attack failed spectacularly. Not only did the Zentrix capture several members of the resistance, but they also uncovered evidence suggesting that humanity might not be as unified as they claimed. Panic swept through Earth's leadership, and Evelyn was summoned back home to address the crisis. Faced with the possibility of all-out war, she proposed a radical solution. Instead of doubling down on the lie, humanity should embrace its true nature and gamble everything on the chance that the Zentrix might admire their individualism rather than despise it. The final confrontation unfolded during a summit aboard the Zentrix flagship. Evelyn stood before the Overmind, flanked by representatives from Earth's fractured governments. This time, there would be no lies. With trembling hands, she deactivated the neural implants linking her to the simulated Hive network, severing the connection that had bound her to the illusion for so long. What you see here, she declared, gesturing to the diverse group behind her, is who we truly are. We are not a hive mind. We are individuals flawed, chaotic, and imperfect. But it is our differences that make us strong. For a moment, silence reigned. Then the Overmind spoke, its voice resonating like thunder. You have deceived us, it intoned. Yet we find your honesty compelling. Your ability to adapt, to innovate, to resist even against overwhelming odds is remarkable. Perhaps unity is not the only path to greatness. To everyone's astonishment, the Zentrix did not retaliate. Instead, they offered humanity a choice: continue living as they were, embracing their individuality, or join the Zentrix in exploring new ways of coexistence. The decision sparked heated debate among humans, many of whom feared another trap. But ultimately, Evelyn's courage inspired a new era of cooperation between the two species. Years later, Kale Torres stood atop a hill overlooking a bustling city rebuilt in the aftermath of the crisis. Gone were the oppressive drones and scripted performances. In their place stood vibrant communities thriving on creativity and collaboration. Nearby, children played a game inspired by the Zentrix, their laughter echoing through the air. Evelyn joined him, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and crimson. You know, Kale said, breaking the silence, I used to hate you for what you did. For lying to everyone. Evelyn smiled faintly. And now? Now I understand why you did it. Sometimes, survival means taking risks even if it means losing yourself along the way. As the stars emerged one by one above them, humanity looked toward the future not as conquerors or victims, but as explorers ready to chart a course alongside those who had once been their enemies. And somewhere deep within the vast expanse of space, the Zentrix watched, curious to see what marvels this strange, chaotic species might achieve next.